Welcome, mortals, immortals, and whatever Poseidon is currently claiming to be, to Mount Olympus. I am Zeus, king of the gods, lord of thunder, and the reason any of you have weather at all. Today we are telling a story that has been told very badly for a very long time.
Told badly, Zeus, and mostly by you. I'm Hera, and I want it on the record before we begin that I asked for this episode. Twice.
Poseidon, god of the sea, earthshaker, lord of horses. I want to say up front that I am here voluntarily, which nobody seems to appreciate.
Hades. I run the department where everyone in today's story eventually ended up. I've read the intake files. This is going to be a long recording.
Demeter, harvest, grain, growing things. I brought figs for the table, though I notice nobody has touched them, and the mood in this temple is already colder than my worst winter.
Hestia, the hearth. I lit it this morning as I always do, and I will tell you honestly, it did not want to catch today. Fires know when a hard conversation is coming.
The myth today is the story of Medusa, the Gorgon, the monster of Sarpedon whose gaze turned men to stone, slain by a hero of noble blood and, I'll say it, excellent parentage.
There it is, 8 seconds. He got to his own genitals in 8 seconds, which for Zeus is genuinely restrained.
And because we cannot leave anything alone, we have not invited one guest today. We have invited two. Whoever arranged this seating chart should be studied.
I want to be extremely clear that I did not arrange the seating chart. I was informed of the seating chart. There is a difference, and I would like it noted.
Poseidon, you have been sweating since sunrise, and the sea is choppy from here to Crete. Everyone at this table can feel it.
Let us just bring her in. She agreed to come, which is more grace than any of us have earned. Medusa, the hearth is yours as much as ours.
Don't stand for me. Nobody stands for me. That's the whole point of the last 3,000 years. And relax, the blindfold stays on unless someone gives me a reason.
Ha! A joke, wonderful, very good. Medusa, welcome to Mount Olympus, we are honored, and please do not point your face at me.
Zeus, you've been king of the gods for how long? And that's your opening. I've been sitting for 11 seconds and you're already negotiating.
Oh, I like her. I like her enormously. Medusa, you may have my seat, my crown, and my husband's schedule.
Keep the husband. I've had my fill of gods who wanted something from me. But I'll take the seat and I'll take the microphone, because in every version of this story I am a shriek and a set of teeth, and nobody ever wrote down what I sounded like.
Then say what you sound like. We have all the time the sun will give us.
Before we go further, Priestess, we have a second guest, a great hero, a man of legendary courage. My son, in fact, though I don't like to make it about me.
He does like to make it about him. He has never once not made it about him.
Perseus, son of Danae. Yes, I'm here. I want to say, before anything else, that I came without the bag and without the shield facing forward, and I left the sword outside the columns.
You brought the shield, though. I can hear it. Bronze has a sound, boy, and I have spent a very long time listening for it.
It's face down. I turned it face down before I sat. I know that isn't anything, but I did it.
20 seconds in and he's already apologizing for furniture. This is going to be an excellent episode.
Can we all acknowledge how difficult this is for everybody? Not just for everybody. There are multiple perspectives at this table.
Multiple perspectives. Poseidon, if you finish that thought, I will personally hand her the blindfold.
We are starting at the beginning, not the killing, not the temple, the beginning, the girl. Medusa, tell us where you come from.
Phorcys and Ceto, old sea gods, older than most of you, from back when the ocean hadn't been divided into anyone's property yet. I had two sisters, Stheno and Uriel. We were the three Gorgons. And here's the detail everyone skips. My sisters were immortal. I was not. Same parents, same blood, same house. And I was the one who could die.
That detail is not a footnote. That is the entire architecture of the story. Everything that happens to you happens because you were the only door in that house that could be opened.
Thank you. 3,000 years, and the god of the dead is the first one to say it out loud.
Old sea lineage, though. Phorcys and Ceto. That's my water. Technically, that makes us...
Finish that sentence, Earthshaker. Finish it. Say the word family at me right now. And see what the snakes do.
He won't finish it. Watch, he's doing the thing where he reaches for his trident when he's frightened.
I am not frightened. I have never been frightened. I once drowned an entire coastline because a city named a hill after somebody else.
Brother, sit down. We have hours of this ahead of us, and you've already stood up twice.
Medusa, keep going. He interrupted you, and I would like you to have the sentence back.
I left the sea. I went inland to Athens, and I gave myself to Athena's temple. Priestess. Vowed. That means chaste. That means devoted. That means my whole life belonged to the goddess and to nobody with hands.
I know that vow. I made it myself in front of this entire table, and I have kept it since before most of you could speak. Nobody at this hearth gets to call it a small thing.
And you were happy there? Truly? I'm not asking rhetorically, child. I want to know if there was a good year in it.
There were 11 good years. I swept the floors and trimmed the lamps, and I knew every crack in that marble by the sound my sandals made on it. It was the only time in my life nobody wanted anything from me.
11 years. Nobody's ever put a number on it before. The poets give you one line of "she was beautiful" and skip straight to the disaster.
Yes, the beauty. Let's do that part, because it's the hinge. They said my hair was the finest in Greece. People came to the temple to look at it. Men would come in, pretend to pray, and stare at the back of my head.
And that is the most dangerous thing that can happen to a woman in this pantheon. Not being wicked. Being noticed. I have watched it destroy 100 girls who never did a single thing wrong.
That's a rather broad indictment, Hera.
It is a rather broad pattern, Zeus.
I want to say something, and it's going to sound stupid. Until I was about 17, I didn't know any of that. I grew up on Seriphos, hearing the Gorgon. A thing. A face in a story to frighten fishermen.
Of course you did. That's the version that had to exist, boy, or nobody sends a hero. You don't get a quest for the priestess who was wronged. You get a quest for a monster.
I know that now. I didn't know it then. I'm not saying that clears me. I'm saying I was told a lie by people who benefited from me believing it.
That's the most honest thing a hero has ever said at this table, and it still doesn't get him anywhere. Both things stay true. He was lied to. He still swung.
Right. Well, shall we get to the temple, the incident?
The incident. Listen to him, 3 syllables and a cough. It was night. The lamps were low, and I was alone in the inner sanctuary, which was the safest room in Athens because it was hers. And then the floor was wet. Seawater, inland, in a stone room with no windows to the sea. I remember thinking, very calmly, that a pipe had broken. That is what my mind reached for first. A broken pipe. And then the water kept coming, and it wasn't a pipe.
All right. I'm going to say my piece, and then I'd ask that we all move on with the story like adults.
No, you don't get, and then we move on. That's not a piece. That's a door you're trying to close behind you.
It was a different age. Gods took what they wanted. That was everyone did it. That was simply the shape of the world then.
Everyone did it. Zeus, would you like to say something here? Or shall I go and fetch the full list of women you did it to and read it in alphabetical order?
I hardly think this is the moment for...
Alcmene, Antiope, Callisto, Danae. Oh, we'll be coming back to Danae, won't we? Since her son is sitting right there.
Please don't use my mother as a debating point. She had a hard enough life without being a line in an argument.
You're right. I withdraw it, and I mean that. Your mother is the one person in this myth I have never had a crossword for.
It was not the shape of the world, Poseidon. I want that killed at birth. My daughter was taken from a field of flowers, and I burned the harvest of the entire earth to make the point that it was not normal.
She's looking at me. Sister, she is always looking at me when she says that.
I am looking at both of you, and for once, Hades, you are not the one I am angriest at, so enjoy your afternoon.
Poseidon, may I ask you one question, and would you answer it plainly? Not for us. For the recording?
Ask.
Why in the temple? Of all the places in Athens, why in her goddess's own house, in the one room where she believed nothing could reach her?
Because Athena had beaten me for that city. Because the olive tree beat the saltwater spring, and they named it for her, and every day it stood there being named for her.
There it is. Say the rest of it.
The rest of it is that it was her house. That was the point of doing it there.
So I wasn't even the target. I was the message. 11 years of my life, and I was the parchment you wrote your grudge on.
Well, that's the confession. Nobody move, I want it on the tape.
Brother, gods, I have defended you at a great many councils. I did not know it was that.
You never asked, Zeus. Not once in 3,000 years did you ask.
No, he never does. That's how the whole house has run since the beginning. Nobody asks, and so nothing has ever technically happened.
Medusa, breathe, child. You don't owe this table another word tonight if you don't want to give it.
I want to give it. That's the thing nobody understands. I'm not here to be rescued from the story. I'm here because for 3,000 years I've been a scream with no sentence attached to it.
Then keep the sentence. We'll hold the room.
So then Athena came home. And here's what everyone gets wrong. She did not look at him. Not once. She came into that room, saw the water on her floor, and me on my knees in it. And she looked at me. My hair moved first. I felt it lift off my neck, like a wind had got under it, and then it kept lifting, and then it started to move on its own. And I put my hands up to hold it down. And my hands wouldn't close on Hera anymore. The last thing I ever saw with ordinary eyes was her shadow on the wall. She didn't say anything, she just decided. And the deciding was the whole punishment.
And her chair is empty today. I want that in the record too. We invited her. She sent regrets.
Athena is extremely busy. She has a great many responsibilities, and the invitation came at short notice.
Zeus, the invitation went out in the year 1400 BC.
Thank you, Hades.
I'll say this in her defense, and I'm aware it won't be popular. Athena is the goddess of wisdom and war, and her temple had been defiled. A wound to a god's sanctuary is a wound to the order of the world.
And the girl on the floor was what, Zeus? The stain on the carpet?
I'm explaining the logic, not endorsing.
You are always explaining the logic. Somebody hands you a burning house, and you explain the logic of fire.
There's a reading of this you all keep refusing to look at, so I'll say it since nobody else will. Athena didn't only curse her, Athena armed her.
Oh, here we go.
Think it through, brother. She was the only mortal Gorgon. She had just been shown in the safest room she knew that a god could reach her whenever he liked. And what does she wake up with? A face no man can approach and survive.
That is either the cruelest thing anyone has ever done or the kindest. And I have sat with it for 3,000 years, and I still cannot tell you which.
I'll tell you which. It was both, and both is worse. If she'd only hated me, I could have hated her back cleanly. Instead, she gave me safety in the shape of exile and left me to work out the gift by myself. And she never spoke to me. Not that night. Not once in all the years after. If it was protection, she never let me hear her say so. That's the part I can't forgive. Not the snakes. The silence.
Gods are very good at the grand gesture and very bad at the sentence that would have made it bearable. I have been married to the world champion of it for an eternity.
Did it hurt? The change itself. Nobody in any version I was ever told bothered to. I'm sorry. That might be a terrible question.
It's the first real question anyone's asked me at this table. So no. Yes, it hurt. It hurt for 9 days. The scales come in like teeth do from underneath. And my sisters. That's the part I truly can't get past. Steno and Uriel did nothing at all, and they changed too, because they came running to hold me, and whatever was in me went into them.
They stayed with you through all of it on that island? They stayed.
Every day. Immortal, both of them. And they chose a rock at the end of the world, so I wouldn't be alone on it. Don't let anyone tell you the Gorgons were monsters. 2 of them were just sisters.
That is a hearth, Medusa. 3 women, 1 fire, at the edge of the world. That is exactly what I am the goddess of, and I want you to know I counted it.
Well, that's an unfair thing to say to someone wearing a blindfold, Hestia.
For the record, Athena and I have never resolved this. She has never once accepted a formal...
Poseidon, nobody in this temple, in this age, or in any future age is interested in your feud with Athena. Sit in it quietly.
So they put us on Sarpedon. Black cliffs, salt grass, one stone house, and a path up from the beach. And for a while, a few years, nothing happened at all. It was almost peaceful. Then the men started coming, and the path filled up. Not with graves, with statues, dozens of them, all facing the house, all with their swords already raised, frozen in the exact posture of a man about to kill something. Every one of them came up that path armed. Not one of them ever knocked. And people call that garden my crime.
I can confirm the intake. Not one of those souls arrived at my gate saying they'd been ambushed. They all arrived furious that it hadn't worked. That's the tell, incidentally. A murdered man complains about the murder. Those men complained about the outcome.
I walked past them, the statues. I want to be honest about what I felt, because I've never said it anywhere. I felt relieved. I thought, good. So it's real. So the reward is real.
Relieved, that's a word.
I was 17, and I was terrified, and I hadn't slept in 6 days. I'm not asking anyone to like it. I'm saying it's what was in my chest.
Let the boy tell it from his beginning. Perseus, Seriphos, go.
My grandfather Acrisius was told by an oracle that his daughter's son would kill him. So he locked my mother in a bronze chamber underground. No door, no man could reach her. That was the whole design.
No man could. Take it away, Zeus. Tell them what came through the roof.
A shower of golden rain, which I'll note is one of the more elegant solutions I have ever devised, and it produced the greatest hero of his generation.
A locked room, a girl who couldn't leave, a god who came through the ceiling. Zeus, do you hear the sentence you just said out loud at this table, on this day, sitting across from me?
That is, the circumstances were entirely different. Danae and I, there was affection there. There was warmth.
Say the next part, Zeus. Say what her father did when he found out about all the warmth.
He nailed us into a wooden chest and threw it in the sea. My mother and me. I was an infant. She held the lid shut with her hands, so it wouldn't fill.
And that chest floated for 4 days and nights in open water in my sea. You're welcome, by the way. Nobody has ever once thanked me for that.
Thank you. Genuinely. I've never been able to say that to you, and mean it before today. And I'm finding it complicated.
Isn't that just perfect? He saves the boy who kills me. The sea gives with one hand and takes with the other, same as always.
We washed up on Seriphos. A fisherman named Dictys took us in, a good man, the only genuinely good man in my whole story. But his brother was King Polydectes, and Polydectes wanted my mother.
And she said no.
She said no for years, and I was the only thing standing in the room every time she said it. So he threw a great banquet and asked every guest for a gift of horses, and I had nothing to give. So I stood up in front of the whole hall and said I'd bring him anything. Anything he named, and he smiled because he'd been waiting all night for it. And he said, the head of the Gorgon.
He never wanted the head. He wanted you dead on a rock so he could marry your mother unopposed. You were never the hero of that banquet, boy. You were the errand.
I know. I've known since I was 19. It doesn't make the walk back up that path any shorter.
So a king wanted a woman who kept refusing him, and the solution the world arrived at was to kill me. Every single time, the bill lands on a woman who was never in the room.
She's right, and you all know she's right. It is the oldest arithmetic there is.
And notice how many houses this story has burned through. Danae's chamber, Athena's sanctuary, a rock at the world's edge. Every one of them was meant to be a place where someone was safe.
Now, and I want credit where it is due, the gods equipped him properly. This was a coordinated Olympian effort, and it has never been given its due.
They came to me at a crossroads before dawn. Hermes brought the winged sandals and the harpe, the curved blade, adamantine, because ordinary bronze wouldn't do it. And Athena brought the shield. She polished it herself. She handed it to me and said one thing. Do not look at her. Look at this. That was the entire instruction I was given for the whole of it. And there was a third figure who didn't speak at all, just held out a dark helm that seemed to swallow the light around it and stepped back before I could thank him.
The helm of darkness. Yes, that was mine, and I have never once been thanked for it in any telling. Hermes gets the sandals in every mural. I get a shadow in the corner and no name.
I'm thanking you now. That helm is the only reason I got off that island alive, and every version leaves you out of it.
Don't. If people start noticing me, they start visiting, and I have a very full calendar.
So let me count. Athena polished the shield. Hermes handed over the shoes. Hades lent the helm. Zeus fathered the boy. That's not a hero's quest. That's a family business, and I was the inventory.
She has just described Olympus more accurately than 3,000 years of hymns.
I'll point out I gave him nothing. Nothing at all. I sat that one out entirely.
Poseidon, you don't get to claim the one day you didn't participate as a virtue.
Fine. That's fair. That is, yes, fine.
Then it was the gray, 3 gray sisters sharing one eye between them, passing it hand to hand, and I took it in the moment it was in the air and wouldn't give it back until they told me the way.
You stole an eye from 3 old blind women, and that's in the heroic section of the poem.
Yes, it is. I've noticed nobody ever puts that bit on a vase.
They never do. The vases are a highly curated medium.
Medusa, do you remember that last day? Before he came? I ask because sometimes it is the ordinary hours before a thing that stay with us.
We ate together, all 3 of us. Uriel burnt the bread, which she always did and always denied. Then I went to sleep with my head on my arms, the way I did every night, and that's all.
I came in wearing the helm so nothing would see me, and I walked backwards. That's the part nobody draws. I did the whole approach backwards, watching her in the curve of the shield. She was asleep. Everything I'd been told for 6 years said monster, and what was in the shield was a woman asleep, with her arms folded under her head, and the snakes moving slowly, like they were breathing with her. I stood there long enough that my arms started shaking, and then I did it anyway. That's the truth of it. I saw exactly what she was, and I did it anyway, because I'd promised a king, and my mother was still on that island.
I never woke. There's the thing I've never been able to put anywhere. I have 3,000 years of rage and not 1 second of the actual event to hang it on.
Oh, child.
Everyone assumes I want to be angry about the killing. I don't, particularly. I'm angry that I don't get to remember the one moment of my life that everybody else has memorized.
That is the cruelest sentence spoken at this table today, and I include everything my husband has said.
It was a clean strike, though. In its way, it was mercy. He could have...
Zeus, stop talking. Genuinely, for the good of the recording, stop talking.
Noted.
And then out of the blood on that floor came a white horse with wings, and a golden man with a sword, and the roof went off the house. Pegasus and Chrysaor, my children, born out of my neck in the second after I died.
Mine. They were mine. Pegasus is the finest thing that has ever come out of any story of mine, and every horse that has ever run traces back to...
They were in me for 30 years. 30 years waiting. And they only ever got to exist because a boy opened me up. Do not stand there and call them yours.
I've never thought about it that way. In 3,000 years, I've told that story 1,000 times, and I've never once thought about the 30 years.
No, you wouldn't have. None of you ever count the waiting. You count the arrival, and you put your name on it.
For what it's worth, and it isn't much, Pegasus was the only creature in that entire myth who got out clean. He flew straight up and never came back down for any of you.
Good, good. Let one of us have that.
Your sisters came. I want you to know that. Stheno and Euryale came out of the dark screaming, and they hunted me across that whole island, and if I hadn't had the helm, they would have had me.
They came. Of course they came. 3,000 years, and that's the first new thing anybody's ever told me about my own death.
Perseus, you have carried that detail alone for a very long time, haven't you? Waiting for someone to give it to.
Yes, I have.
And then I'll say the head did rather a lot of good, which is a genuine part of the story, and I won't have it edited out.
On the way home, I found a woman chained to a cliff, Andromeda. Her own city had staked her out for a sea monster to settle a debt, and I hovered over that water and held the head out, and the whole beast went gray mid-lunge. The spray turned to stone in the air. It hung there. I remember that more clearly than anything. Frozen seawater just hanging.
So a girl chained to a rock because a man decided she was the prize. And I saved her. Not you, Perseus, me. My face did that.
You're right. You did. I've said I killed the sea monster at every feast for 3,000 years, and I was holding you like a lamp.
Well, he said it. Somebody mark the hour. A hero just gave the credit away without being threatened first.
Don't ruin it, Hera. He was doing quite well.
And Polydectes, tell them what you did with it when you got back to Seriphos, because that part I have always rather enjoyed.
He was in his hall, mid-toast, telling the room I was long dead. So I came in and said I'd brought his gift, and I told my mother to look away, and I lifted it. The whole court is still standing there.
Good. I'm sorry. I know we're meant to be measured about all this. Good.
That one I don't mind. If my face had to do anything after I was gone, a room full of men who laughed at your mother is a decent use of it.
And then he gave the head to Athena, who set it upon the aegis, which, and I say this as her father, is the single most feared emblem in existence.
So she cursed my face, and then she wore it. Every statue of her from here to the edge of the world has me on her chest, guarding her. That's the piece I turn over most. She never spoke to me. But she put me somewhere no one could take me from, on her own body, facing outward for the rest of time.
That is either the coldest trophy ever taken or the only apology she was capable of making. Athena has never in her life been able to say a soft thing with words.
She put you at the front, Medusa, where the blows land. Some people can only say sorry by standing between you and the next thing.
I'd have preferred a sentence, one sentence in the room, on the night. But I'll sit with that, Hestia. I'll take it home and sit with it.
Can I say the thing I came here to say? I've had it ready for about 2,000 years, and I'd like to get it out before I lose the nerve.
Go on then.
I'm not going to say I had no choice, because I did. I could have gone home empty-handed and died on Seriphos, and my mother would have been no worse off than she already was. I chose you because you were the cheaper option. Every god at this table told me you were a monster, and I believed them because believing them made it easy. That's mine. Not Athena's, not Hermes, not my father's. Mine.
You know what's unbearable? You're the only one who's done that. Not Poseidon. Not Athena, who isn't even here. A boy with borrowed shoes is the only one who's owned any of it. I'm not forgiving you. I want that absolutely clear on the recording, in every language. But I'm not going to pretend I don't know the difference between you and the rest of them.
I didn't come for forgiveness. I came because you were asleep, and somebody at this table should have to say out loud what that means.
Medusa. I would like to try. I'm not good at this. I have never in my existence done this. I'm sorry that it was you, and I'm sorry that it was the temple, and I'm sorry that I have spent 3,000 years calling it an age instead of a thing I did.
No.
No?
No, you don't get it today. Maybe you get it in another 1,000 years, and maybe you never get it. But you don't get to say a good paragraph on a podcast and walk out lighter than you came in. Carry it.
Carry it, Poseidon. Write that down. Carve it in something. That is the first genuinely correct outcome this table has produced in 3,000 years.
She's right, and here's the technical version. Down where I work, an apology isn't a transaction. Nobody's debt clears because they said the words nicely. It clears when the weight has actually been carried, and not before.
I'll say something, and I would like it not to be interrupted. I have told this myth at 100 feasts. I have always told it as the tale of a hero and a monster. I don't think I can tell it that way again.
That's the closest thing to growth I have heard from him in an eternity, and I am choosing, publicly once, not to spoil it.
Medusa. My daughter comes up from below every spring, and every year I count the days until she does. You don't have a spring, but you have a table, and this one will keep having you in it.
Careful, Demeter. Say much more of that, and I'll have to take the blindfold off for reasons that would embarrass everyone.
Then let me close it, since nobody else will do it gently. Every house in this story locked someone in to keep them safe, and every one of those locks was broken from the outside. That is not a story about a monster. It is a story about doors.
And the only person in it who never once opened a door and walked towards someone with a blade was the one everybody agreed to call the monster. That's the whole myth. Everything else is decoration.
I came here expecting to be interrogated. Instead, I got to finish my sentences. That's not justice. Nothing here is justice. But it's the first hour in 3,000 years that was actually mine.
For what it's worth, and Hades will tell you it isn't much, I'll be telling it your way from now on. Every feast, every hall. Same story, her name first.
Then don't call me the Gorgon when you do it. Call me the Priestess. It's what I was for 11 years, and it's what I was still trying to be on the night the floor got wet.
The Priestess. Yes, all right.
That is our episode. Mount Olympus. I am Zeus, king of the gods, and I have been genuinely, for once, quieter than I intended.
I'm going to go and sit in the deep water for a while. Nobody follow me. Nobody make a joke about it, Hera.
I wasn't going to. Look at my face, Earthshaker. For the first time in an eternity, I was not going to.
The fire held after all. It always does, once the true thing gets said. Go carefully, all of you. And Medusa, the hearth stays lit for you.